Okay, here's the facts to it, really. You don't need any money to make a movie. If you're watching me on a phone and the camera works, you can make one. You can shoot, edit, all that on it, period. That's how I've done over 3,000 videos for YouTube so far. That's how I've done 3 shorts and, well, you can call it 4 shorts. One's an episode. It's like 16 minutes long. Whatever you use, I don't care if you're editing on a computer or phone, guess what? You can find a free editing app. There's just all there is to it. I use InShot, and even if you have a watermark on it, it really doesn't matter that damn much. Not as much as what people think. So that just is what it is. So you don't need to spend any money. You don't need to know what you're doing. You don't need a write out full story. You just need an outline to the damn thing, to be honest with you. And if you're making the first one, guess what? It doesn't need to be an hour and a half long. You can make it 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Make a short one. Make it as short as you want. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't need to be something super long. If you're making the first one, guess what? You don't need anybody else. You can act, shoot, and edit. That way you can learn what you're doing. That's what I did. Shit, the last one I did was just me. The whole damn thing. It's 16 minutes long, mainly talking. But it works. So, alright, let's see. Yeah, like I said, you don't need actors. You don't need to write dialogue. Look at... Okay. There's a bunch of shit that they didn't write dialogue for, including Curb Your Enthusiasm, A Mighty Wind, Best in Show, and there's a few others. This is Spinal Tap they didn't write dialogue for as well. They just had the outline, what they wanted done, and that's it. Anything else, the actors came up with, right? That just is what it is. So you don't need to know how to write dialogue or any of that shit. And drama and comedy acting is the same thing. Actually, all acting is the same thing. No matter how ridiculous or fucked up the situation is, the people take it as it is actually happening, as it's actually going on. That's the acting part. They aren't being. Even look at the Three Stooges, okay? The Three Stooges are three people that are not the smartest, okay? But they are being themselves. If they mess something up, if they think something wrong, that's because they think something wrong. It's not that they're playing it for comedy, they're playing it straight. Even the Three Stooges were playing it straight. Okay? As weird as it sounds. And I don't think a lot of people get that. But yeah, it's all the same damn thing. Alright, I have a list that I'm going through real quick. Mockumentaries are an option and are actually pretty easy to do. Everyone's seen a documentary. With that, you can get away with a lot of dialogue and all that shit. You don't need a lot of locations necessarily. You can rip off something like Soft White Underbelly or How Crime Works or one of these ones where they just sit down and talk basically and can make something out of that real easy. You know, all it is talking. Like I said, with that, just come up with some questions, look up some questions, answer them, and the character will flesh itself out from you answering them. It's that simple. All right. I've done it. It's might not be what everyone is drawn to right away or can do the easiest, but it's just a truthful matter. All right. Go ahead, write fan fiction if you want. Just change enough to get sued. 50 Shades of Grey was fan fiction, right? So it's basically this person, like these characters, this setting, whatever the fuck it was, and ended up saying, well, you know, what if they were into BDSM? Wrote a BDSM book, and that somebody liked well enough that it's like, well, let's change the characters from those characters to any other character that isn't already taken. That's what happened, and guess what? It became a book and a movie. Shit like that happens all the time. People are inspired by stuff. It's good to be inspired by shit, but at the same time, know to change it enough. Not to get sued. That's what a lot of people do. They like the characters, they like the story, they like the whatever. They take aspects and put it into their own. That's called inspiration. Some people call it theft, but everyone does it. You know what I'm saying? That just is what it is. So, for a story, you just need three things: location, character, and situation. What I mean by that is wherever the person is in the beginning, where it's starting. So, the main character and whatever they're doing at that time. Not the situation of the world. It could be somebody in someone else's house putting up a picture. Okay, are they taping it up or are they putting a nail in to hang a picture on? Does that go well? Does that not go well? That's the beginning of the story. It's really like that. And then it's just asking and answering questions. That's the main part of creativity. You ask something and you answer it. And honestly, when I made Munchies, which was my first short, I looked through a book I have that has a bunch of movie titles and basically kind of reviews and stuff of them. I came across one that was Munchies. I came up with my own idea. I didn't see what the synopsis of the movie was. I just saw the title. And I made it one about a guy that smokes too much weed, gets too high, too hungry, and starts eating children and pets. It's a comedy, but it doesn't seem like one from that synopsis, right? Yeah. So, let's see. You can have one location be many different locations. If you have one room, all right, you can put different stuff on the walls, move stuff around, make it look different. Not everyone's going to know that you're in the same room. Now, right here where I'm at, I could change the pictures, move this camera in, make sure that that's not in there, because right there's more of a mural behind it. But that's the thing, right? So I could do that there, or I could turn the camera to a different wall. It's going to give a different look. You don't need every location under the sun, right? People like to think you do. You fucking don't. So, as far as making a movie, honestly, you don't need a lot. You just have to give it a shot to make it. That's it. It doesn't have to be good. I've watched so many movies in my life that a lot of them aren't any good, in my opinion. A lot are pretty decent to really good, but there's a lot that are just dog shit. So, you're afraid of making dog shit like everyone else? That's fine. But I'm going to let you know something flat out. Nobody's going to remember your shit unless if it's really good or really bad. If it's just mediocre, people are going to forget about it. So even if you make something that's not up to your snuff or whatever, which, trust me, from making shit for as long as I have, it never is, in my opinion. Like, my stuff never is as good as what I want it to be. You know what I'm saying? And that is fine. That is what it is. But just know that going in, and also know that there's a chance that it could be mediocre and no one's going to remember it. So, guess what? It's a fresh slate. As weird as that sounds. Nobody remembered that you did the first one, so the second one is the first one, right? To them, as weird as it sounds. You know it's true, though. Alright, also, you can write through editing. That's what I do. I will shoot shit. I will cut off the parts I don't need right away. As soon as I'm done shooting, I will place it where it needs to be placed within the movie itself and editing. And then from there, I'll see what I need, what's missing, because that will help guide what's happening and where it's going to end up. Because usually I don't know what the end of the movie is going to be when I start. I try to make sure I don't, because if I can't be surprised, no one else can be. You know what I'm saying? So, and then kidnap everyone. What I mean by that is, if there's people that you met or know or have seen or have heard, go ahead. Use them as inspiration for a character. You know, it's not that hard. We all know people. We kind of know how to be them a little bit because they're around all the time, or we know them well enough, or we can latch onto something. Just basically impersonate them to an extent. Right? And hard, that's what I did. I didn't impersonate one person. I basically decided, hey, I'm going to be this kind of person that I've known forever, right? I've known not people that do bestiality and all that, or do that with animals or anything like that. What it is I know people that are slimy, that are sleazy, that are just not the best people necessarily, but they see themselves as okay people, and what they're doing. There's nothing wrong, right? And a lot of people do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. And that's the way I went with it. And you can do that. You know, there's no saying you can't make whatever you want to make. You just got to be willing to do it. So I know that's 10 minutes long, but there you go.